Did you know you have to sign this contract before you step foot in any home if you're looking to buy a piece of real estate here in San Diego County? Stick around to the end of the video. I'm offering some killer free resources that are going to make your life so much easier if you're trying to buy a piece of real estate here in San Diego. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle Plastiras. I'm a real estate agent here in San Diego County. And today I figured, you know what? It's probably time that I break down a huge change that happened in the real estate industry that every single buyer needs to know about. It's called the Buyer Representation and Broker Compensation Agreement, aka the BRBC. So if you're planning to buy a home, especially here in San Diego, it's essential that you understand what this agreement is, why it's in place, and why you have to sign it before you even take a look at a piece of real estate. Let's dive in. First, let's talk about why this is so important. This actually came up because there was a recent proposed settlement that happened with the National Associations of Realtors, which is called the NAR, and there were huge changes to our real estate buying and selling process. The number one change that took place and went into effect on August 17th of 2024, and basically what has happened is all buyers are now required to sign that big document I just flashed on screen called the BRBC before touring any piece of property. Now, it is a big deal. This is a huge departure from the way that things were done in the past. But you know what? I don't want you to worry. It's actually designed to bring more transparency and clarity into the home buying process. So what in the world is a BRBC? I want you to think of this as a buyer's version of basically like the residential listing agreement. So that agreement is between a seller and a licensed real estate agent when you go to sell a piece of real estate. This is sort of the opposite side of the spectrum. This is a relationship, a contract that establishes a formal relationship between a buyer and a buyer's broker. So here's what this document actually does. Number one, it clearly defines the broker's role in helping you as the buyer find a property to purchase. Number two, it clearly outlines your obligations as the buyer to compensate the broker for their efforts. And number three, it sets clear expectations for both parties so that there is no surprises down the line. In other words, it's all about protecting both sides and ensuring that everyone is on the same page. Let's break down some of the key terms that you're going to see on this contract, on the BRBC. First, there's going to be a representation period, and this is a time frame usually defined in days during which you are committing to working with a specific broker. Now, the maximum amount of time that you can commit to on that document is 90 days. Next, when you sit down with your real estate agent, you're going to be able to choose and negotiate whether or not you're willing to sign a non-exclusive or an exclusive version of this contract. Non-exclusive means that you as the buyer can work with other brokers if you want to. And exclusive contracts means that you are committed to working with just one broker during whatever period of time is defined on the very top of that contract. Now, the nice thing is that the agreement is also going to specify the properties and areas that are covered. This is so important because you can get very specific or you can get very broad on this contract. You have the opportunity to outline specific neighborhoods, a specific property, both, or keep it more general and just say that this document covers all of San Diego County. And most importantly, this document will address compensation. We used to use the word commission, now we use compensation or concession, and there's three scenarios in which this can play out. Number one, the seller could already be offering to cover your buyer's agent's fee in totality, meaning you as the buyer will not need to come out of pocket in order to pay for their commission, now known as concession. Scenario number two would be that the seller is willing to cover a portion of that commission, at which point you'll need to discuss with your agent if you're willing to come forth and cover the other portion that you've committed to in that document. And the third scenario would be that the seller's not willing to cover any commission for your buyer's agents, which means you as the buyer could be responsible for paying whatever you committed to in writing on this document. So I'm sure this sounds intimidating and you might be asking yourself, so why would I even sign this? So is it necessary? Do I have to? Well, the long and the short of it is yes. it is now law that you have to sign this document in order to go tour a piece of real estate. But I think it can bring some value. It's a tool for buyers to basically ensure that your agent is fully committed to finding you the perfect home, and it gives you peace of mind knowing exactly what to expect. It also sets clear expectations and obligations for your broker, meaning that they're professional and hold accountability to you throughout the buying process. So the nice thing is you do have some safeguards by signing this contract and knowing that your buyer's agent is committing to working for you diligently in order to find the right property. In my experience, I feel like this document, although sounds intimidating, we've decoupled commission and it's completely changed the way that we do real estate. I do think the benefit is that it has created more trust and more transparency for everybody in the real estate process, and that's a win-win for everybody. No one likes any surprises when you're buying a piece of real estate. Now, here's what I want to put in big, bold letters. Before you sign a BRBC, here are just a few things that I want you to keep in mind before you take out a shiny pen and sign away. 1, always review the agreement carefully and make sure that you understand all of the terms. Your agent should be accessible to you and knowledgeable, and if they aren't and they can't professionally answer your questions in the contract, well, that could be a red flag. 2, ask your broker questions about anything you're unsure of. Truly, I need to double down on this. If there's anything that you feel uncertain about on this contract, be sure to ask. Everything's negotiable. The intent behind this document is so that you as a buyer feel safe, secure, and you know the obligations on both sides of the real estate transaction. Another point is to make sure that the agreement aligns with your real estate goals, like the property that you want to tour and the areas that you're interested in. And it's up to you to communicate that to the agent, what you're willing to sign off on. Are you willing to sign an agreement that covers the entire county? Wonderful. Are you only comfortable signing an agreement that is specific to a home that you want to see on that day? It's up to you, and you get to clearly define that in the contract before signing. So maybe this is a little redundant and I might be driving the same point home, but I'm just trying to be abundantly clear here because this is new and different and has changed the way that we buy and sell real estate. But the BRBC may seem just like a piece of paper, but it's really important, and it is the first step in the home buying process. It basically sets the tone for your entire experience, and it ensures you either one way or another that you are confident in working with your broker because you are committing to working with a real estate agent by signing this contract. So here's what I'd love to offer to you, and I offer this to any prospective buyer that is interested in buying a piece of real estate with me. I offer in-person meetings or Zoom meetings where we go over the contract in grave detail to make sure that you are very comfortable with it and that the expectations you have for me are clear and mine for you. So if you have any questions about the BRBC, please be sure to write it in the comments below. Shoot me an email or a text, and do not hesitate to reach out. I'd love to be a resource for you and of course help you along the buying process. And as always, don't forget to like or subscribe and leave a comment below. I'm starting to post a video about once a week, every week for the foreseeable future for all things San Diego real estate. And I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I hope that we'll be in touch soon. My contact information is below.